Good morning from the Mobile Museum of Art in Mobile, Alabama. My name is Angie King and I'm the curator of art education here at the museum. I teach wheel throwing classes and some clay hand building classes. We offer classes for kids and adults of all different kinds, but wheel throwing is one of the most popular and it's really fun. So for all of you sitting at home, this is just something fun for you to watch. I'm going to show you how to throw a tumbler, which is just a glass without a handle. Kind of pint glass size for a reference. I've got about 1.5 pounds of clay here, maybe a little bit less. And I make it into a ball first. This clay is it starts out this kind of darker brown, and then when it's done, it actually looks like this. It's got these speckles in it. It's really pretty. And the nice thing about this clay is that you can put it in the dishwasher and the microwave and in the freezer if you want a frosty drink. So it's very versatile and you can do a lot with it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to slam this ball down in the middle of the wheel. And then I've got to use water because water reduces the friction between my hands and the clay. And right now you can see that the clay is wobbling all over. And so the first thing that I have to do is called centering. And what that does is it gets the clay right in the center of the wheel. And this technique is something that you can do with centering. It's called coning up. So I make it into a little cone, and then I come back down. I'm going pretty fast for this part. So I've got my clay centered now. It's nice and symmetrical. I'm going to slow down a little bit. Each step you want to slow down. I've got a foot pedal over here that controls the speed. And next I'm going to take my thumbs and I'm going to make a hole right in the middle. Now I kind of know how far down to go, but if it's your first time doing something like this, what I always tell my students is to stop the wheel and take the needle tool and put it in there. And then you can see how thick the bottom of your pot is. So you don't want to go all the way down to your bat, which is this plastic piece, because then you'll have a hole in your pot and your cup won't work. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I've got this kind of donut shape, and I want to widen it out because I want my cup to be wider than this. So I'm pulling back. Vertical forms are a little bit more difficult for beginners. It's a little easier to make a bowl because it's easier to get the clay to go out. But what I do basically is I decide how wide I want my pot to be on the inside, and that's how wide it's going to be. Usually I make it about wide enough to put my fingers in. And then the next step is I'm going to start pulling. So I'm using my knuckle on the outside and my fingers on the inside. And I'm squeezing the clay from both sides and I'm coming up. And because I want it to be a vertical piece, I'm trying to keep it going pretty straight, or even a little bit inward like a volcano shape right now. And this step you repeat as many times as you need to get your pot where you want it to be. So ideally you want an even thickness throughout the whole pot. And this step also helps you get the height on it. So you can see little lines on it. Those are called throw lines, and that's where my fingers have been. Some potters like to leave those, some potters don't. It's kind of a personal preference. Right now I'm still just getting the shape. And I'll compare it in a minute when I'm done to the finished product, but this is going to be larger because whatever you make shrinks about 10 to 15%. So you have to take that into account when you're throwing, because if I want a cup to be a certain size, I can't throw it that size, I have to throw it larger. If I don't want all these lines, I can take a tool. This is called a rib. This is just one kind of rib, and I can come up on the outside and kind of wipe those lines away. If I wanted to change the shape a little bit, I could, like you know, some glasses will be kind of a little fatter maybe in the middle. So it doesn't have to be just straight up and down. If I want it to come in, this is called collaring in. So I've got it about as thin as it's gonna get. And I like the lines on there because when you're holding it, it's kind of nice for there to be grooves on it, because then you've got something to grip onto. I use the inside of my fingers here to smooth the top, because you always want to be sure that wherever your mouth is going to be is nice and smooth. And then the last thing I do is I take this little tool and sort of just clean up the bottom a little bit, make it look a little nicer, and then I cut through it. And because I threw it on this bat, I can now take the bat off and I can throw something else. So you can see there's a bit of a height difference there. This one is a little shorter than this one was at first because it does balloon out some, so it's a little different shape. But anyway, that's how you make a tumbler. Thanks for watching, and check out our website for more information about classes and exhibitions, and we hope to see you soon, rather than later.